You are now tuned in to Radio with Gibbs.
Ladies and gentlemen, all my people, welcome to Radio with Gibbs. It's your boy Mark Gibbs, Gibby Gibbs, or just Gibbs, whatever you may know me by, coming to you from the great state of California. And back again, introduce yourself.
Joy back from England. Well, coming from England, not in England. That was very awkward.
You somewhere out there.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
UK,
somewhere out there, coming back at it again. So on the last show, I said that I had a bit of a surprise or kind of a thing for everyone. So I've got a couple of things that I'm going to loop in on that. So first and foremost, for all the listeners, everyone out there, I would like to take this moment to formally introduce the newest and not the least team member to the Radio with Gibbs podcast show. You all have been listening to her for the last few weeks. You all have seen her, but I have not formally introduced her yet because, well, we wanted to get through a few episodes and see how it went. And I would like to say it has gone great. She has added so much to the show. So without further ado, co-host 3000, aka as we know her by, Joy.
thank you. That's a surprise. I was not expecting that. I was like, wait, hold on. Is he talking about me or is he talking about somebody else? I was like, I didn't know somebody else was coming online.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell you. So for a background for everyone, when I first wanted to get a co-host, it did not take me long to end up coming across Joy as someone who would be good for the show. You know, the reason I did that was because I wanted to expand the different perspectives that were being talked about, and I didn't just want to speak in a vacuum on my own for the rest of the duration of the show, because this show it's going to be a thing. You know, it is a thing, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And so I didn't want to just be so single-minded. I wanted to hear the perspective of someone else. So I met Joy through a mutual friend, and she immediately has been very helpful. And there has never been any type of issues, any type of clashes. She has, like I said, added to the show, given it a great layer and expanded the audience. So I'm going to open up the floor to her and let her say and speak to the people.
Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Christian for mutual friend. Honestly, when you first approached me about it, I was like, why not? I feel like if anything, that's a good experience. I'm able to talk about how I feel, which honestly I was very uncomfortable with. You know this. I was like,
Yeah, and then when you're talking about recording, right?
Yeah, we're talking about recording.
Yeah. I was about to say you gotta preference that statement with what you.
I forgot.
Okay.
Recording.
Not with me, with the recording.
With the recording. Just because I was like, I can't imagine hearing my own voice, talking about my voice. And surprisingly, I've gotten a lot of good feedback back saying, it sounds like I do this all the time. It's very natural. And I'm like, well, really? Because I can't see it. But I like doing it now. I feel like I'm getting more comfortable with it. And honestly, I think just being part of the show has opened up a lot of opened up my mind to your opinions, other people's opinions, and just kind of made me actually think a little bit more than before, because obviously I have my own opinion, but
Absolutely.
Nobody knows everything. So
Yeah, no one knows everything. And the first episode we did it actually with another friend of ours, Ciara. And on that episode, it was a lot more of me and her doing a lot more of the talking because we have more like dominant personalities. But
Mm-hmm.
as we continued on, I want to say about a third time we recorded together, it was like instantaneous chemistry, and you just really was able to like find your own and be able to, seamlessly fit in. So I do want to tell you directly, I've told you before, but just on record for everyone else to hear, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am looking forward to doing more. There'll be times where, like I did a few weeks ago, I'll still hop in and do an episode by myself every now and
Mm-hmm.
again, only because I get in the mood sometimes, and because if you got stuff going on,
Get in
not
your
really looking
box.
forward. Yeah. Sometimes I gotta do that. But even though I give myself the opportunity to do it, I'm also going to extend the opportunity to you as well. And that is the
Mm.
surprise for the rest of the audience. Me and you have talked about it, Joy, but
Mm-hmm.
I will be giving Joy her own episode. All right.
Watch out. Listen,
It's
you just
coming.
opened up a door.
Yes, it's coming sooner than later because right now I'm in the middle of doing this course, and the course load isn't bad, but like my attention, my mental focus, I got a lot of stuff I'm working on right now, and I don't want to ever get to the place where we go months and months and months without putting out an episode. So, I'm going to give you that opportunity and let you do what you're going to do. So, right now, as we speak, we've got one prior episode to publish and then this one here. So, you basically got like a couple of weeks to come up with it, and then it's on you.
Hey, I got it. If you're listening to this and you want to hear more from me, definitely DM me a message. Um, Let me know what you want me to talk about. I am open to all subjects. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. And Joy, she knows how the show goes. She knows how we do this thing. So I have no doubt that's going to be a great episode. I'm looking forward to editing it because I'm not going to sit in on it while you're doing it. Like, I'm gonna just let you record it, do your
mm-hmm.
thing. I mean, if you want to do it on Zoom, like, or however way we're doing it, that's cool. But we'll talk details about that later because what we are here to do today is go over some stuff that's a little bit on the relationship side of things, but we're kind of transitioning out of that a little bit, right? Like we're gonna finish that up, wrap that up. We've been on it for a couple of months now. So
Mm-hmm.
I put a question out on Facebook and Instagram, and the question I asked was, what is the most attractive non-physical quality in a person? So when you're talking about qualities in a person, we're talking about non-physical. I'm not talking about you. Yeah, I looked at her, she walked in the room, and when I saw that booty, I already knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? I'm not don't look at me like that. That was someone else. That was me speaking for someone else. That wasn't me speaking for myself. Because if we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about like physical qualities,
Mm-hmm.
then normally for me it starts around the face area and everything else will
Oh,
fall
so
away.
it's face
But
area. I'm
I
sure. I'm
digress.
sure.
It is, but that's not
Okay.
what we're talking
Okay.
about today.
You
We
ain't
can
gotta
talk about
explain
that.
yourself. You ain't
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
explain
yeah, yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay. It's okay.
Those the
You
face
like
stuff
the
like that.
booty.
I again speaking from a different perspective as another person. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them have. Anyways, let's continue on. So I asked that question because I want to know, and I also asked a question to a few friends of mine. Would that one quality be enough for you to give a man a chance? And so before we get into the actual responses, let's talk about what our personal responses is. I'll leave that to you, Joy. Why don't you start us off? Lead off hitter.
Ooh, for me, honestly, humor, like you have to be funny. Like if you're funny, that catches my eye real quick because that means you know how to like have fun, joke around, just go with the flow. All about that energy. And then also if you're ambitious, I'm definitely attracted to people who are not just ambitious and like, going to school, but actually passionate about what they're doing, where they're going in life. Like they have goals. That's very important to me because that means that you have something outside of just our relationship to focus on. So, and then I feel like with ambitiousness, you have to have some type of intellect because I feel like they go hand in hand. In order to get somewhere, you need to have some education, a little bit of, you know, vernacular with the words.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but talk a little bit.
yeah. So, and last one, I'll probably say confidence. Nobody likes an insecure man.
No one likes an insecure anyone.
Exactly. So,
So you kind of did exactly which is fine, what everyone else did, because I asked for a quality, and then like people got on Facebook and start stacking them up, and I'm like, yo,
because
this
it's hard to pick
like
just one.
I wanted to know. I just wanted to know, like, let me get that one. But out of
Okay.
all those that you mentioned, you're fine because we're gonna talk about all of those. Out of
Mm-hmm.
all of those that you mentioned, which one is the most important, and which one will get a man, we'll say, on a date with you? Like, you ain't got to go all, you ain't got to go all in with him, but what will get him a date with you, where you can actually say, I can take this man seriously?
Mm. See, I'm stuck between ambitious and humor because
Mm.
those two are very important to me. Off of just first interaction, I would probably say what would catch my eye, ambition.
So I'm curious because it's kind of hard to gather or to really wrap your mind around ambition on the first interaction, though, right? Or very
That's
quickly.
true.
How do you gauge that from a conversation that you might have quickly?
Mm, dang, when you put it like that, now I'm like wanting to change my answer to humor.
I mean, it's fine. You could change your answer. You can do what you want. Life is
I
all
mean,
about
I
that.
feel like it really depends on the situation that you're in.
Okay.
Because if you're in an event or where it is more like a networking event, I feel like you could peep somebody's ambition from the way they interact and network
Mm,
with other people.
absolutely.
Um, or yeah, I feel like it's more just observation from how they interact with other people.
Yeah.
But I guess now I kind of want to change it to humor
Because,
because
yeah.
in my head now it makes more sense. Because if somebody's being more funny,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, I'm most likely to be like, okay,
Yeah, because I mean, in
well,
a room, who are people going to gravitate? Naturally, who do we gravitate towards first, though, right? Like at first
mm-hmm,
interaction, most people are probably going to gravitate towards the more humorous person. And then as you get to know people and everyone kind of separates themselves, now you start to kind of see the ambition. Because I mean, I'll tell you now, as a man, I don't sit here and share my ambitions with everyone off
that's very
top,
true.
right? Like I want them to get to know me for who I am. And then I'll start with the stuff that you can actually see. I'm in the military. This is what I do for a living. This is all the things I do on the side. I don't really get a lot into the business that I'm starting, or I don't get
Mm-hmm.
into the plans that I have for the show. I don't really get into the plans that I have for some other things that I'm working on, because as crazy as it sounds, everyone isn't privileged to that information because everyone ain't worth my time.
Speak on it. I feel like I'm the opposite when it comes to like first talking. I rarely tell people I'm in the military. Like you can ask a lot of
Oh
people.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
I
no,
do not.
I don't do that now. I don't these days. I don't do that off top.
It's not safe.
No. Well, not only that, but like, dudes, we get the same response. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten this response recently where it's the same thing from a woman. Oh, you're in the military? Oh, it's the same thing. Oh, I'm in the military, I hose. Like they say that so casually, like they just know so much about that. It's just like, oh, I got a friend that told me about being in the military,
You know,
and they
most
get
women who say
around.
that because they've experienced it.
Okay. I was about to say you got to watch what you going to say because you never know who
You-
might have said that. Like, hey, some people are. Hey, you grown? Go ahead, live your hot girl summer. You grown? I don't have a double standard. We say men can
a
do it
man
all
got
the
shot in the
time.
foot though.
Listen, that's a whole. We're not going to talk about that. Moving on.
Okay.
Moving on. So yeah,
By
I
the way,
get.
that's not a funny. That's not a funny.
No, it's not funny. It's not. I'm laughing because like you're trying to bait me into that, and I am not. I am not getting into that. No. We are no. So I just get so fed up with people making an assumption about me because I'm in the military, right? I'm very upfront. Now I will tell you what I'm upfront about because I don't like hiding these things, especially if I'm really interested in someone. And again, not so much as ambition, but just talking about things we're upfront about. I have no problem
Mhm.
telling someone I have a child, right? That comes out.
I feel like that's very important that you should say
Yes,
up front.
absolutely. That comes out pretty later on. And then, like, as I get to know someone, that's when I'll be like, I won't wait too long, but I'll be like, hey, just to let you know, the relationship between me and my child's mom, we were actually married. We're divorced now. It's not one of these weird, it's official. There's some people who I ain't trying to knock nobody, but we all know someone who's divorced. I'm holding up quotation signs, and they not real, and it's not official.
They're entangled.
Listen, I ain't knocking you if you do that, but I'm gonna tell you like I told someone. Don't sit up here and hit me with the it's taking me 3-4 years or whatever. Don't do that because I've been through the process and I know it's different from state to state. And again, I'm not judging you, but at some point in time, you gotta make some moves. Public service announcement. You gotta draw the line somewhere, right? Anyways, as I was saying, I put that out there because I do know some women who that they still kind of live in the mindset where okay, you already been down that road once with a woman. That is not something I am trying to do with a man who's already been down that road. And I don't judge them for it. It's perfectly fine if you feel that way, and I can keep it moving, right? Like
Yeah, I
that
feel
don't
like that
bother
would be
me.
a follow-up question though. If you told me from the get-go that you had a child, I'd be like, okay, so what is your relationship with
It's
your
really
baby
not
mom?
because the assumption, and let's keep it real, right? Because we keep it real on Radio with Gibbs. The assumption is that me as a black man, a young black man in the military, but just being a young black man, the assumption is that I was just out here doing the damn thing, and therefore I got someone pregnant. That's just the assumption. Like people, whether it was a relationship or I was out here, getting it in, whatever, living my hot boy. See, that don't sound right. I can't say hot boy summer. Anyways, so that's the assumption, right? People make that assumption.
Mhm.
And it's a little bit of an unfair assumption, but that is one reason why I say something because a lot of times, because of the amount of time that we were married, it wasn't a very long time. And the fact that I only have one child, it's just something that people assume. And that's just not the case, right? Um, so yeah, I try to get that out the way up front, and then after that, it's like, okay, well, this is a getting to know you type thing. So
Hmm.
you still want to change your answer to humor?
Yeah,
Okay, I
it's
like
humor.
that.
Humor.
Humor is big on my list. So on my personal list, if I had to choose one, if I had to choose one, like
Non-physical.
off off top, something that like no matter how it's so my top 3 is definitely gonna be s I wanna say intelligence, but see, the thing about intelligence is the reason I say intelligence is someone who can hold a conversation with me, but just because someone can hold a conversation with me doesn't mean that they're intelligent on that level that I'm talking about, the general, like, "Oh, this is an intelligent person." What do we
Mhm.
mean by that? I guess everyone's different. So
I'm gonna pose the same question to you though.
okay.
How can you tell somebody's intelligent
Well,
from far away?
humor and someone on the post on the Facebook post, shout out to Daniel. He put this on the Facebook post. Humor is actually an indicator of intelligence. And I have heard that before and I can look that up, but if you think about I'm not talking about acting a fool and being a clown and acting dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who is able to think quickly on their feet, and
Witty.
someone who is witty, and someone who can use humor to make connections, right?
There we go again.
If they make connections using humor, most of the time they're pretty intelligent. Like, think about Dave Chappelle is one of the most funny, if not the funniest man in my book, and a lot of people's book, the most funny
Agreed.
stand-up comic of all time. And it's not just because he tapped into the feel-good emotions of everyone and rolled around on the stage and was like, what? That chicken tastes like cocaine, or whatever, something crazy, whatever. Like, that was a terrible Chris Rock type impression or whatever.
Terrible. I was like, I don't know who you're
Yeah,
referencing
I
right
mean,
now.
yeah, that was just a general, like, stupid, like, not to say Chris Rock, because I do like Chris Rock, but what I am trying to say is that he's so he's so intelligent with how he takes like his intellect and he wraps that in humor. Like, he has said some of the most profound stuff that I've ever heard, but yet it made me laugh. And his jokes are smart. And it's not even him being profound to be profound, because there are comedians out there like that, like, oh, I'm a great thinker and I'm funny at the same time. It's like, no, this dude put together jokes and you're just like, yo, how did he do that? Right? Like, how did he put this thing together? And so naturally, a lot of people say that have been around him, he's a super intelligent guy. And I think you got to have some level of that. Like, have you ever heard Cat Williams talk outside of stand-up?
No, but I actually like saw him in Vegas one day.
Pretty
He's
smart
very
dude.
small.
He's small, but he's pretty smart too. He might say some dumb stuff. I'm not so don't confuse the two. You can be smart and say some dumb stuff and do some dumb stuff. So let's not confuse the two, because that is not the same. That is not mutually exclusive, right? And I want to say my boy Khalil said something about that too on the Facebook post, that for him, making good decisions is big, because you can be intelligent but still make dumb decisions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. And with that being said, I want to say, like I said, if there's humor, because there's a lot of things I can
I feel like
deal
you
with.
cheated the system a little bit, though.
How did I cheat the system?
Because you said intellect, but you're also intertwining humor into intellect, which I feel like
but it's
was what I was trying to say.
No, but you weren't trying to go here. You were trying to go with ambition.
Which also I said goes with intellect.
Okay, so do you want to do intellect, or do you want to do humor, or do you want to do
Nah, we're going to go with humor, because intellect and humor go together now. You want to make these connections.
Hey, listen, that's what
Shout out to Daniel.
What we established at the last 2 episodes, that I make connections. That's what I do.
Okay.
Well, look, you can do what you want because it's our show. So you can have more than one.
I want anyways.
You cutting up today. You cutting up today. See? You introduce somebody officially and bring them on board and welcome to the family. Now they don't know how to act. Now you don't know how to act. You done made it now.
Listen, I told you opened up a door.
Okay, I'm glad I opened that door though, for real. So my thing was, my top one would probably be somewhere around the humor type thing, but the other thing is confidence. Like, that's big for me. Like, really, that's a really major thing for me, because I have just seen the effect of what confidence can do. Like, you know me, I talked about this on the last podcast. I want someone who is at least hovering around my level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have realistic expectations of what I expect from people. But if I decide to commit my time and my energy with someone, I at least want them kind of hovering around. And I can tell you this, though. If a woman is confident, like, she might not be where I am, but she's going to be able to get to a place to where she surpasses me, which I am perfectly good with too, because You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get flued out one day too. You know what I'm
I feel like
saying?
that should just motivate you to get to where she's at then.
Exactly. That motivates. So if you're confident, confidence isn't just like, I can give you an example. Like confidence for me is like, okay, I'm working at a job that I don't really like that much or that isn't that great for me, but I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm going to find something better and I'm going to get out here and work or get out here, fill these applications out, talk to people. I'm not just going to like ball up in my little shell and say, oh, I hate this, I hate that. I have the confidence to say, I'm going to make a move and make something happen for me. That's confidence. Confidence is when I'm out or I'm doing something and I'm not with you, you're not sitting there like getting so much or hating so much or so jealous or so worried about what I got going on. Cause first of all, if I'm with you, I ain't gonna have nothing else going on, right? Like let's go ahead and get that out the way. But
Mm,
second of all, yeah, I mean
okay.
that's how I roll. That's just how I roll. That's how I roll, right? If I'm in a
Talk your
relationship.
stuff. Talk
I
your
mean,
stuff.
right. I mean, that's true. I'm proud. I'm proud to be that way. I'm fine, you know. But you gotta lock me down though. But anyways, so I was about to say something and play that music. I ain't gonna do that again. That'll be on the last. I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna
It's too
play that.
early in the podcast. Too
It's
early in the
no, we're not
podcast.
gonna do that. No, you can do it anytime, but we you don't want to do it every episode. We're not gonna do the music every episode. So the other thing about that is like, okay, I'm with you. Who am I coming home to every night? You. Who
Mm-hmm.
am I spending all my time with? You. Am I constantly on my phone when I'm with you? No. So why are you worried about so much of what I got going on when you're not here? Because clearly I've committed my time and I've committed my effort to you. Now, this is what I will say. People who want to cheat, people who want to be unfaithful, people who want to be devious will find a way to do so no
Mm-hmm.
matter what the situation, right? Like there's just no way around it. If someone wants to do something, they will scheme, they will plan,
Mm-hmm.
they will maneuver, they will plot, they will do anything they need to do to make it happen
So
if they
how do you,
want to do it.
so I just had a conversation with somebody about this.
Okay.
How do you feel about the statement that men are able to have detached sex more than women are?
I think that's inaccurate because I think that there are plenty of women out here who can have detached sex. And I think there are plenty of women out here who do, and they compartmentalize their partners. And there are men, it kind of like that. What's that show? I've brought it up before. She's Gotta Have It. That's a thing. There's plenty of She Gotta Have It women. There are plenty of Nola darlings out here. Like, let's not
Oh
sit
yeah.
here and play. You know what I'm saying? There are plenty of women who can detach, and there are plenty of women who are fine getting one thing from this man and one thing from another and one thing from another. And I've had this conversation before with someone recently, with a few people recently. You got to be careful because I'm telling you, if you are in one of those situations with a woman, as soon as she gets everything that she wants from the man who she truly wants, you're out the door. You're out the door. You're done. So there are plenty of women. It doesn't even have to be a detached sexual thing. It could be a detached, I'm really into you for these things that you provide, but you are not the man that I would choose overall.
So what would you consider cheating? Just physical, or do you also consider emotional?
So emotional, it that and that's that thing where it's like it depends on the person, right? Because if my woman tells me that, hey, she was going through this and she emotionally gave herself to someone, but she realized that it was an issue, then yeah, we're gonna have a conversation. There are gonna have to be some boundaries. We're gonna have to figure that out, et cetera, get to the root, all that good stuff, everything. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I'm not okay with it, but I get it. But here's the thing. For you to have physical relations with a man, another man, while you are in a relationship, and the same thing goes for a man when he's in a relationship with a woman, for two people to cross that boundary and have physical relations outside of their relationship, they have to make the calculated and the conscious decision to put themselves in that situation. Okay? I'm not going to get up out of my bed and just fall into some insert word there that is not my relationship, right? Yeah, see,
What was that again? Insert word.
I said insert word because I'm trying to keep this thing from
So you
getting.
could say booty.
Booty is fine. Booty is fine. That is
Okay, I'm
I
not gonna
can't.
comment on that.
It's my show. It's my show.
Go ahead. Insert word.
I
Carry
guess
on.
insert what that. Yeah, insert word. Right. I can't just get up one day and fall into that. For that to happen, there has to be some sort of engagement or initiation, right? Come over. Let's meet up. Let's go here. Let's do this thing, right?
He was the club.
This
At the
exactly.
bar.
Exactly. So the second a person enters into that space, that's when it becomes a matter of cheating or being unfaithful, in my opinion. Now, let's say, like you're talking about at the club, at the bar, if you run into someone, right, and you know it's been a vibe going on or whatever, that is when you need to make the decision to either remove yourself from that situation or not engage in that situation. Because again, that can lead to other things. And so the emotional thing, I get it, especially when you've been with a person for so long, because it's bad enough if you find out someone's been on the phone and someone's been texting and someone's been doing this, that, and the other. That sucks and that can really emotionally damage someone. But if we're talking about that and then coming clean about it and moving on versus nah, I let some man connect with me on a physical level, yeah, that's a tough one to come back from. I don't know
So what
what
is it about the physical level that is more, I don't want to say revolting than emotional?
It definitely. I mean, we try to act so like evolved, and we try to act like we are in such a different place, or we're in such a like different level in life now that we're so aware and woke and awakened. Like we try all these things to get around the fact that sex and physical touch and physical interaction is a very intimate, powerful thing. And we all try to do all these, verbal gymnastics and emotional gymnastics and explanations and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it is still powerful, right? Because what's going to hurt you more? Someone calling you out your name or someone putting their hands on you?
I feel like it depends on the name. No, I'm just joking. Probably somebody's gonna put my hands on
I'd
me.
rather Mike Tyson call me the B word than to knock me out.
This is facts.
Right now, I'm not saying that applies to everything in life. The power of the words does hold a lot of weight in a lot of different things, but let's not try to discount the power of physical intimacy between two people. Why?
But see, you said two things that I feel like don't necessarily go together when people cheat.
Okay.
Physical and intimacy.
Oh, okay.
I feel like sometimes when people cheat, it is not an intimate thing.
I agree with that. It doesn't have to be intimate, right? But they were still interacting with your intimate parts. Their intentions may not have been intimate, but they interacted with the parts of you that are intimate to someone else. They stepped on sacred ground.
Oh, okay. Wordplay.
Hey.
Why'd you look at the camera up like that?
So that was a very interesting segue, I guess. I like it. I like the conversation. Because we haven't really talked much about that. So going back to these physical traits or these non-physical traits,
Mm-hmm.
let's get into what our people on Facebook had to say. So the first thing that multiple people said was humor. Like a ton of people said humor.
Like I said, people like good energy.
Good. That's a good
They're
point.
attracted to good energy.
Yeah, that's what that
People
is.
like to feel good.
Yeah, you're right. Like most people who are pretty funny seem to have pretty good energy. I'm buying that. I
Mm-hmm.
like that explanation. That's pretty
You
good.
could be a 5, but if you're really funny, you can maybe bump up to a 6 or 7,
I mean, it
depending.
depends. It depends. Look, this is what I tell people all the time. If you can wake up in the morning and roll over in bed and look at that person and be fine, then I think you're going to be okay when it comes to like how they look. Now, if you wake up in the morning and you roll over and you're just like, ugh, or if it's something like, if it's
Yeah.
anything around that, if it's like, then maybe.
Yeah.
And listen,
Unless you're what's it called, a sapiosexual?
yeah, that's the thing too. That is
Yeah.
the thing. There are people who are like that, right?
Attracted to
We talked
purely
about that
the
before.
mind.
Yeah, the mind. Yeah, that is a thing. So I don't want to discount that. Like, listen, this is why I'm always learning, right? This
All
is why
inclusive.
we're all inclusive. The show is all inclusive. If you don't care for that, then you don't have to listen. It's all inclusive. My show is. I want to put that out there so everybody knows. Like, this is an inclusive show, inclusive environment. Now, do I
Mhm.
speak on things that I don't know about? No, I don't do that. So humor, that was one of the things that came up. Um, Big thing. A lot of people, I agree with that. That's one of my top things because I love laughing. I once met someone not too long ago who had a pretty good sense of humor. But you know, some people they you know
Oh Lord.
okay, moving on. Moving moving on. Moving
Inside
on.
joke if you're listening
No,
to this right now.
no, we're not.
Inside
We're
joke.
not. We're not. We're not.
We are.
We're not gonna
We
play the
are.
music. We're not gonna play the music again. Okay. The next thing, the next thing that a lot of people mentioned was intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Can you
Intelligence was
mentally stimulate me? Not
yes,
just my intimate parts, as you put it.
yes, intimate
My
parts.
brain.
Your brain. Can you mentally stimulate someone? I like conversation. You should know by now if you're listening, I'm a talker. That's what I do.
And
Talk
so you
to
got a
me.
podcast.
Yes, yes, the podcast. Everyone has a podcast, but everyone doesn't have a great podcast. Keep that
Oh.
in mind. We have a great podcast. That's why you keep listening. So, intelligence, that's really big for me. Just going along with that intelligence thing, what my friend said about someone who makes good decisions, because I have been in the situation where I'm giving too much of my time to someone who just seems to keep making bad decisions over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this. Okay, this is what I have to say about that. At some point in time, you got to look at yourself and be like, why do these things keep happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
Some point in time, you got to look inward and be like, well, maybe these things are happening to me because of the way I move in life. You got to
Okay,
like,
so let's break it down. Let's break down intellect. Would you rather have somebody who's book smart or street smart?
so when we say street smart, that all depends on what type of street smart. Because for me, like if you're street smart because you're from the hood of, or you're from the streets of, like let's say Chi-Town or Detroit or something like that, or
Mm-hmm.
wherever you're from, right? But we're living in Houston, Texas, or we're living in Calabasas or something like that. I'm aiming high here. Then
I was about to say Houston got some
Be-
streets.
Houston does have some streets. I'm just saying.
Calabasas, I don't
Okay,
know.
let me rephrase. Well, that's the thing. I'm talking about different streets, right? Like, does being street smart translate across every street? Like, is it a regional thing? Is it a country thing? Like, or if you're street
Okay.
smart, you're just generally street smart. Like, what are
I
we?
guess when I say street smart, it's like common sense.
Oh, I'll take common sense over book smart any day,
Like, do you know how to
any day,
move in certain
any day,
situations? Do you know how to
any day.
be an adult, which I feel like not a lot
Me,
of people know how to do, but that's another conversation in itself. Or would you rather have somebody that can, read verbatim whatever they learn in college or whatnot?
I will take good sense. There's an old chief that once told us that there is no such thing as common sense. There is only good sense.
Hmm.
That is what I'll take. That's why I rarely say common sense, because common sense, they people always like, oh, common sense ain't so common. Nah, common sense is based on how people tend to think, and we as a whole and as a culture or as a society don't always think smart about how we approach things in life, right?
This is very true.
100
I have
years
that
ago,
conversation
yeah, yeah, like people
because it's like,
like
what's common sense to you? It's not common sense to me. How you
nope,
grew up is not how I grew up.
exactly.
So
Good sense. I will
good
take
sense.
that.
I like that.
Good sense. I talked about reading
Great sense.
great sense. And like you're saying, people that don't who aren't mature, J. Cole, he said it best. I tell people this all the time. One of his best lines, so underrated. People get older, but they never grow up. I
I
wish I could take
definitely
credit.
feel that.
I wish I could take credit for that line so much. And it's funny because I'll say that, people be like, yeah, that's so deep. And I'll be like, well, Cole said it, So I gotta get shout out to J. Cole, man. Shout out to J. Cole. I'm gonna be on one day. You're gonna hear this. I'm gonna be on one day, man.
Put it out there.
He's from North Carolina too. Well, I'm not the
I
Carolinas.
was
I'm
gonna
from
say, I thought
South
you said
Carolina.
South
I'm from
Carolina.
South Carolina, but he's from
Carolinas.
The Carolinas, which we only claim each other when it benefits us, by the way. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we only do that when it benefits. Like people, they're claiming the baby now, and I'm like, y'all ain't never claimed North Carolina growing up, but now y'all want to claim like North Carolina when someone famous is from. He's from North Carolina. Like we do that all the time, all the time. But then, like when somebody's like, "You're from North Carolina, right?" We're like, "No, I'm from South Carolina, two different places." Like that's the thing. So yeah, people, the street smarts, being able to handle yourself in multiple situations, knowing how to move around in the room. Like book smart is only going to get you but so far. And plus, like eventually that's going to catch up to you. Like if you don't have some sort of good sense in life, your book smarts is not going to save you. The only thing that book smarts,
Yeah.
the only thing that might do is like keep money in the bank, which is nothing small. But what's the point of having money in the bank if you don't know how to keep it?
Honestly, yes, I agree with that. And on top of that, really, I don't think that statement is true. Because you can have all the book smarts in the world. You can have a degree. Let's look at the college system right now. You can hold a bachelor's degree, and that doesn't really mean anything
That's
anymore
true.
unless you know how to network.
Mm.
That's why people join in sororities and fraternities because of
Mm.
the connections that get you to this type of position or this type of position.
Very true.
If you don't know how to network, then honestly,
Yeah.
your degree is basically as basic as a GED nowadays.
A bachelor's is pretty much a high school diploma, and that's no shade on anyone because I'm still like my education. I'm still working on that, but I am also working on myself, like to build myself up because I have my own
Healing.
thoughts on. Yeah, I got my own thoughts on what a degree means and higher, all this. I'm not going to get into that now. I have my own the way I look at it. But that's no shade to anyone, but I can even acknowledge where I am being in the military, my position, like a bachelor's is pretty much a high school diploma nowadays. But people
Mhm.
discount the power of a trade and the power of someone who actually has a good job with benefits and this, that, and the other. Like I had this conversation with someone the other day. She was like, oh, so and so, he's a forklift driver. And I'm like, how much is he making? And is he in a union? Like, what are his benefits? Because if he's forklift driving for the right people, then he could easily be coming in the door making 80, which by the way is nothing in California, But if you're coming in the door making 80 and you're living in, for the most of the US, excluding New York, Miami, and a few other places here and there in California, excluding those places, 80K is pretty good, especially if you're young and you ain't really got kids or too many kids, or you ain't got too much like going on.
Hmm.
That's solid, because if you think about it, if you marry someone who's making the equivalent, now you're in a combined upper bracket household. So what are we really talking about here? I know I just oversimplified like money and finances, but like 80K, why? And that's coming in the door. So if the dude stick with it for 5 years, he might be making 100, not 100, 100. 100 will get you a long way, long way.
This is true, but are they? Actually, that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother
It's
episode.
another
That's a
episode. I'm
whole
just
nother
saying, when
episode.
we talk about degrees and stuff like that, I think that the reason why we got so big into those was because, yes, that at one point in time it was either military or degree. That was your way forward. And now people are finally going back to the ways where it's like, nah, because I don't need a degree. Because it's almost like inflation. Like everyone went and was like, okay, well, we all need degrees, and so everybody went and got degrees. And
Mm-hmm.
shout out
Which
to the people.
ups the tuition cost everywhere,
Yes.
which made a degree put everybody into debt,
I
which
mean,
it
that's
just becomes this vicious
yeah,
cycle.
it's a
But
vicious cycle.
anyways,
Yeah, and shout out to the people who are first generation college graduates. I know that means a lot to you. So
mm-hmm,
please don't feel some type of way about what I'm saying, because I
we are
am
not
not.
knocking
We are not
your
knocking
effort.
higher education. We are saying that there's more than one way to make money out here in these streets. That's what we're saying.
Exactly.
I love y'all.
Shout out to entrepreneurs.
Shout out. I need I need like I need a shout out voice clip. Like I got all
Yeah, just
these
like press the button and be like,
press
shout
these, but
out.
yeah, that's coming soon. That's coming soon. So intellect, we were just talking about it, right? Goal oriented or driven. That was the other thing a lot of people talked about. So going back into like
Mhm.
the degree thing, yes, go girl. You working on your masters. I love that. Like I have so many friends that are working on their masters and now PhDs, like, or doctorates. I have several friends working on that stuff. That is a goal. I love that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or if you're trying to work your way up to being like higher up in your position, I love that. If you're trying to start your own business, I love that. I am all for all of that stuff. Like, have some goals. Like when I see that, that is attractive to me, because that goes with that confidence. Because you got to have
Mhm.
confidence to be able to reach your goal. What did I just do?
Connections.
I just made a connection. Okay. All right. We've done
But
that
not
for
only that, I think it brings a sense of commitment, because when somebody tells me whether they're pursuing a degree, a business, some type of goal that they have in mind, whether it's losing weight, regardless, if they make that goal, that shows to me you have commitment
dang.
and determination, which is
Ooh.
attractive.
Yes. 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 That commitment. I tell people all the time, if you meet someone that is willing to commit to something, then they are willing to commit to you if they love you,
Mhm.
if they care about you.
Behaviors
Yet behaviors, care.
repeat itself,
Yes.
especially if they produce good. Jesus, I cannot think of the word right now. Produce good. I don't want to say productions, but good.
What are you saying? Returns? Yield?
Yeah, good returns.
Okay. I feel that. I feel
Like,
that.
what do you see when people start losing weight? They continue to lose weight. They continue to lose weight because it looks good. I mean, at a certain point, some people like stop because they're like,
Yeah,
I'm where I
people
need to be at.
plateau. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it.
but yeah, if you're able to show me that you're able to commit to something and follow through, that kind of shows me you're able to commit and follow through some areas.
Oh. That is a pretty good indicator. I will say that the only thing about that you got to be careful with is some people are so goal driven that it's hard to even for them to really register when it comes to a relationship, because they got so much they're trying to do that the relationship thing just, it's not great for them. It's not.
Mm,
But I mean,
I disagree. I
okay,
disagree.
okay, okay, okay. Tell me what you think. Tell me
I
what
feel like if a person is so goal driven,
Mm-hmm.
the right person that will come along
Mm-hmm.
will complement their pathway,
Oh,
not interrupt. And if they do, that's not the person for them. They're just not at the level that they need to be at.
that was smart.
I'm just saying.
That was so true. That was true. So that was. I think more people need to hear that. So we're going to put that out for the rest of the universe, for the rest of everyone. More people need to hear that, because that makes a lot of sense. So,
Not because they don't want to talk to you. It's because you're not at their level. So
or
get to it or get stepping.
or
Or,
they got entanglements. So,
oh my God.
and I just said they got entanglements. All I said was they got entanglements. So, rounding up this list, a lot of people said stuff like character, loyalty, other things like that. I feel like character is a broad statement, but I can kind of understand what you're saying by that. Respecting others, that was a good one that came up a couple times, because if you respect other people, they're gonna respect you.
Yes.
If they respect watch how someone talks to other people, because that is
I
going to be.
also,
Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was always told, watch how somebody, do they speak the same way they talk to their boss as to the janitor?
Ooh,
Because if they don't respect everybody.
that's
So I
pretty good.
respect the people who talk to the janitors the same way they talk with respect to their higher ups.
Never thought about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought about it that way. Something that was brought up one time, or I think maybe twice, which I found it interesting considering who's on my friends list. Spirituality / a relationship with God, like that really only got brought up like one time, and that makes me realize more and more that more and more people are really getting out of they're heading towards, I don't know if I want to say they're less spiritually minded when it comes to who they want to date or whatnot, but maybe the audience that it reached just wasn't, because I'm coming from my point of view, right? Like if the right person put that same question out, they probably have a ton of people saying, I want somebody who prays or this, that, and the other. I just thought I was interested that like someone's like spiritual connection or their faith, if they have any type of faith, only came up one time.
I think that's more a sense of our generation. I feel like our generation is moving more away from the organized concept of religion being you are Christian, you are Baptist, you are Buddhist, you are whatever you believe in. I feel like now it's more of just essential. You believe in whoever you believe, respect who you believe, and move forward.
Okay. Definitely got that.
Yeah.
That makes a ton of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That makes sense. So pretty much between Instagram and Facebook, those were the things that we got, and they kind of seem to line up with what me and Joy have been saying about humor intelligence, being goal oriented, emotional intelligence, making good decisions, stuff like that, entrepreneurial mindset. That was an interesting one. Shout out for that answer or everything like that. So it seems to me that basically what I'm hearing is if you're not a 10, you still got a chance. Maybe. You just got to tap into this list. All right, you ain't got to be a 10. If you're
Disclosure though. Unless you're sapiosexual. Let's keep this in mind. Quotation marks.
Yeah.
I do feel there is a sense of little bit of
Th-
physical attraction.
There's a
that you
physical
need to
thing
have with
there.
somebody.
There's a physical thing there. And when this question was asked, when I asked this question and someone was like, well, how do you feel? I told them, look, this is all nice, but I have to be physically attracted to them in some sort of capacity, right? Like they ain't got to be the finest one in the room. They ain't got to be, as I mentioned before, like you ain't got to have big booty, all this, that, and the other. Like you ain't got to have all that. Everybody want, this, that, and the other. We can sit here and talk about that all day long, but at the end of the day, there's got to be some sort of physical attraction for most people. For me, I can say that, but these things can definitely help, because if I use that in a real example, then having a woman who might have more physical attributes, but she's got more of those the non-physical attributes that I like, she'll beat out a woman that has more of the like. Oh wait, I think I'll reverse that. Let me say it again. If a
Yeah, I was
woman
like,
has if a woman has more of the physical attributes that I like, but less of the non-physical, I will choose a woman who has less of the physical attributes, but more of the non-physical attributes over her.
Yep.
So
Yep.
for me, on an even playing field, if they both are at the threshold of I'm attracted to both of them, then I would take the woman with the non-physical traits over the woman with less of those traits. So
No, I agree. Same aspect. I feel like the one with the more physical traits in a man's perspective, that would be more short term booty call type
I mean that's
type
how
of
it is.
relationship. But the one who is more mentally stimulating, once again, I'm gonna keep him around a little bit more.
Keep him around a little bit more. And that's all we got today, ladies and gentlemen. We are at our time. Thanks for tuning in, all my people. Thank you for tuning in to Radio with Gibbs. It's been a great episode. We got some great conversations in here. We've been doing a lot of good discussion, welcoming officially, for not the first time, but officially welcoming Joy. Shout out. Got to do that little clap. Get that little clap in. Welcoming her to the show. She is officially put it on the pod, put it out for the people, a part of the family. I appreciate everything that everyone's been putting in here into the show. The feedbacks, voice messages are going to be coming back. We're wrapping up the relationship series and going to get into some other things. Joy, for your followers, I don't know why y'all don't want to follow me back. Y'all need to stop playing. Y'all need to follow me back. If y'all can follow Joy,
you calling them out.
I am calling everyone who is listening on your end, and everyone who on your social media. If you can, we're gonna put this clip on your social media. If you can follow Joy, you can follow me. There we go. That's for you. That's for your people, Joy. Y'all better stop playing with me. Y'all better follow me now. My page is open. I follow back. Come on, y'all. What y'all doing? I'm cool. Anyways,
I'm done.
We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna wrap this episode up because we're running past that mark. I appreciate everyone for listening. I appreciate everyone for welcoming Joy to the family. I appreciate y'all for sticking with me. And just remember, if you want to see this thing go further, if you want to be a part of Radio with Gibbs, if you want to be a part of the good things that we're going, if you want to get in on these discussions, if you want to see how we are doing things and broaden your perspective, broaden your mind, look at things a little bit differently, then you got to get on this train. You got to get on this train, because this train is getting ready to leave the station every week. We got more people listening. We got more reviews. We got more things coming in the inbox. Talking about this, talking about that, talking about this, talking about that. I want you to talk about this. I don't even know what to talk about anymore, because we got so much that people want us to talk about, but we're going to keep talking about it, because no matter what is going on in life, no matter what's happening, no matter what we are going through, I love to live life, and live I shall. Y'all be good. Y'all be great, because y'all some great people. And thanks for tuning in to Radio with Gibbs.
And we out.